And hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Sports Shorts TV. Ronnie Rantz alongside Joel Davis coming to you from the LeBaire Studios in Baton Rouge. JD, how are you?
Good. Great.
We're going with the weird host voice right off the bat. I mean, that's what we're doing.
Well, it's been a while. It's been a
yeah,
while.
I know. It's
I've been on a sabbatical.
boycotting the show.
Boycotting the show. I mean, boycotts seem to be kind of fatty right now.
Yeah,
so
everybody's doing it.
I mean, if you're not doing some sort of a boycott, you're really missing the boat.
Yeah. Well, happy Mardi Gras to everybody out there. Lundy Gras. Lundy Gras we tape here on Monday, but it replays tomorrow as well on Mardi Gras. So
I don't know what a vacation is, so I wouldn't know what's going on in the world outside of work.
Is there one parade you're going to do or have done?
I can't do parades because, you know, they're usually on the weekends when you can do them.
Could have done Friday night.
Yeah, daughters on gymnastic meets.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Out of town in Texas, invitationals.
Yeah.
So I'm not going alone, Ron.
So no Mardi Gras.
No Mardi Gras this year. Bummed out about it. Not going on Tuesday. Not going on the big Fat Tuesday. Not going to do that. I mean, Fat Tuesday is reserved for New Orleans, right? And during the radio show, I told you I'm not one to kick it into high gear the day before a big day at work. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like I'm not a Sunday fun day.
Although if you did, you could go to Rejuve-Me and get the IV
Yeah, you could do that, but I mean, I'll be working. I mean, who has time for that? Yeah. Like on a work day. If they're open on a Monday, and they are, I can go on an early Monday morning. Monday mornings are easy for me, right? But like a Wednesday is in the middle of the week, regardless of what happens before it.
Right.
A lot going on a Wednesday. You got to get done so you can enjoy your weekends, which I don't.
Okay, so you're not going to do Mardi Gras, so everybody else out there will. But
are you? Are you going to do a parade?
No. LSU baseball though will be taking on Nichols on Mardi Gras.
You going to be calling that?
No, I'm not going to be calling that actually.
Well, what does that got to do with?
Yeah, but I mean, it's transitioning to LSU baseball.
We're getting off of our
we're getting
personal
off
stuff.
of your personal, boring life, and we're going to talk about some LSU baseball. They'll be taking on the Colonels. They're 7-1, taking on the Colonels on Mardi Gras night. Nichols, if you've watched Pelican, you'll know they're not very good. They're not very good. I mean, Southland Conference is tough this year, and Nichols has got about 2 pitchers, a closer, and 3 players, and that's about it. They'll be battling to be in that top 8. But they're I mean, Southeastern is loaded. McNeese is loaded. UNO's got a veteran offensive lineup. Their pitching's better than a year ago. Lamar is picked to be in the top 4. Sam Houston's picked to win the league. It's a tough conference. And so good luck to the Colonels. Seth and them are great guys, but they've got their work cut out for them. They're not gonna throw their Friday night guy on Tuesday. So they're gonna throw some down the line pitching.
So LSU's probably gonna score 82 runs.
Yeah, sure, okay. Bunch. Kind of like the LHSAA basketball.
We'll get to that with Todd Black in a few minutes. Let me ask you this: how's our guy Will Davis doing over at Lamar? Have you heard anything? I mean, is
preseason third in the picked to finish? I think third in the conference.
I mean, let me ask you this: you know Will,
former LSU assistant. Yeah.
You know Will, and third base coach, did a great job there at LSU. Gets the head coaching job at Lamar in his second season as the head baseball coach.
How about this real quick before you can finish your thought? He doesn't get the UNO job.
Right.
Will Davis didn't get the UNO job. They hired Blake Dean, which of course that's worked out really well for UNO. Instead, he gets the Lamar job, the next job he goes for, which actually pays about double. And you know, it's in Texas and the facilities are better and all that stuff. So that works out well for both of them, Blake and Will, and we're happy for both of them. Andy Cannizaro doesn't get the Tulane job. You know, he wants that job. It's his alma mater, you know, whatever. Instead, he ends up getting the Mississippi State job, which pays more, way better facilities, and they're about to do a $50 million renovation on their stadium.
Good gig for him.
So it's worked out well for this former LSU assistant.
So back to Will. What's happening? Is he pretty good?
This is his first year as head coach this year.
But he was with the team last year, right? This is his first year.
He went over at Christmas break and was an assistant last spring.
How do you see Will as a head baseball coach in the future? Does he have that DNA to be organized, to lead the ship? Obviously, he got an opportunity. Many guys get opportunities and they squander it. Will doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to squander this opportunity. But does he possess all those intangibles great coaches have? Because we both know he wasn't an elite baseball player, but he was a good baseball player.
Elite.
He wasn't elite.
He wasn't elite.
That's what I said. He
Right.
wasn't an elite
But he
baseball,
played the right
but
position.
He played the,
catcher, which is a great position for the Lions.
and so, do you think that he has the DNA to go off and to be a pulmonary, to have a career long term in that industry?
I think Will's in a great spot to do that because one, his dad was an assistant coach under Skip Bertman, and his dad was an assistant coach at LSU, South Carolina, and a head coach at Louisiana Tech in the mid-'90s. So he's got that background from his father, who also, that tree comes from Skip.
Sure.
And he's learned a lot of his, from Skip. He played for Smoke. He was in Laval, who was a great coach in his own way. And then Paul Maneri, of course, he's been an assistant with him, and he's learned his system. So I think he's got a lot of good pieces to be a successful head coach, and he's in it young. So he's got a chance to grow.
Well, we both are pulling for him. He was always available, always came on this show, always made himself available to be on Sports Shorts. So obviously we're pulling for him, and except for when he plays LSU.
Right, which actually they do. Lamar does come over here. They beat Lamar beat LSU last year over there, and Paul Maneri jokingly, but I think he very seriously said, "We're never coming back." They went over there to play because it was John Gilliam's or Gilligan, not Gilliam. That would be the guy who returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown in the history of the New Orleans Saints.
So it was the guy that lived on the island?
Gilliam, excuse me. Oh, God.
You're screwed.
I don't know what
this is. I know it's. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. I know for a fact it's not Gilligan.
Anyway, the guy who was with Lamar for like 40 years, he retired last year. As a favor, Paul Maneri went over there in his final season and played him. They beat LSU. They'll never go back again.
Not Gilligan.
Lamar will have to come here to Baton Rouge in the future.
You know who Gilligan is, right?
Gilligan's Island? Yeah, I know he is.
So we're sure it's not him.
It's not him.
Okay.
LSU, by the way, over the weekend, they dominate Maryland. But Jared Poche is the story, not only locally, but nationally. Jared Poche, for the second week in a row, and there's only been 2 weeks to the college baseball season in 2017, was named National Pitcher of the Week. No-hitter a week ago in 7 innings. This week did better, had a no-hitter going to the 9th, so he did 1 inning further than he did a week ago. Gave up a 10-hopper single up the middle and a ground ball. And what he's doing has never been done before in the history of LSU baseball. Probably hasn't been done in the history of college baseball or in a long while. It's incredible what Jared Poche's doing, even though some will say, well, it's Army, it's Maryland.
It doesn't matter. These are college baseball
Maryland's
players.
a preseason pick to win the Big Ten, and by the way, had 2 players in their lineup that were an all-star team at the Cape Cod.
No, he's done something that we'll probably never see again. I know Buzzy Heidel is excited. I know LSU is excited about Buzzy Heidel making calls for LSU because every time he seems to make a call, they have a no-hitter going.
Because Buzzy and Doug Thompson were doing the play-by-play of the LSU Sports Radio Network for the 2 games that Jared Poche was pitching. Yeah.
And sometimes that never happens to a play-by-play guy in his career.
I've never called a no-hitter in the hundreds of games that I've done in college baseball. I've never called a no-hitter, and very rarely have had a game where the no-hitter went deep into the game.
Right. And it's an exciting moment. And you have to be careful as one of those guys. You don't want to jinx anything any more than the players do. Just listen to me.
Not a big fan of
Are
that.
you mad at, you think Poche's got it in for Kramer Robertson?
I mean, it wasn't his fault. First off, it wasn't Kramer. It was Josh Smith was in the game. Kramer had come out, and Josh Smith was playing shortstop in the ninth.
So it's Kramer's fault for coming out. That's what my point was.
Yeah.
It's Kramer made. How many plays did he make in that game?
Yeah,
I mean, he was being hammered all game, and then he decides to take an inning off.
Sure.
So whose decision was it?
It was Paul Maneri.
So it's Paul Maneri's fault.
It's Paul Maneri's fault. Yeah. No, Kramer, Robertson, Alex Bregman, no matter who was playing shortstop, they weren't going to make that play. It was amazing just for Josh Smith to get to the ball.
He could have gotten the ball. Could have made the ball.
But to get up and throw it, no, wasn't going to
There's guys that make that play. Let me ask you something. You're the pitcher, okay? You're in that situation. You've been there. You've been a pitcher, but you've never been in that situation. But you've been on the mound. That's all I'm saying. You've been on the mound. You've never been deep in an 8th inning with a no-hitter in your life.
No, high school threw a bunch of no-hitters, but not college.
I don't believe you threw a bunch of those. But let's just go back to the point.
Check the Menard.
Can you do me a favor? And because you're a funny guy and you're pretty creative, can you turn that way and then watch the play happen behind you with 2 outs in the 8th, and then give?
Well, it was no outs in the 9th.
That's what I meant. No outs in the 9th. No outs in the 9th. Exactly.
So I'm the pitcher.
You're the pitcher.
And the ball goes behind me.
You're pitching that way. I want you to turn, and the screen, the camera is the guy making that play. He doesn't make the play. I want you to kind of go through what would happen.
So I'm pitching.
You're pitching.
And then the ball's hit up the middle of the center field.
You're making the turn, and I want to see your reaction to the whole thing. Okay. And action.
And here's the pitch. Boom. Oh, you got to be kidding me. That was unbelievable. Really? Really? And thank you. Yeah, unbelievable. You and I are going to talk later. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Unbelievable.
You gave him 2 points.
Yeah, right. Unbelievable. You come back.
Me and you.
Right.
So you're a little disappointed.
Ah, come on. Yeah, he's not. No, he's fine. Listen, Jared Poche was thrilled to death. He had a no-hitter going into the 9th inning. As much as he would have liked to have finished the no-hitter, there was no ill will. You know what this is? This just proves that you didn't play team sports growing up. I mean, that's what this really proves because, you made the St. Paul team, you quit. We've heard the story a million times. You were a boarding student. I mean, on and on and on. We got it.
How do you remember these
wanted
things?
your weekends off. We get it.
How do you remember these stories?
But the bottom line is that you didn't play team sports, so you think that everybody's hating on the next guy. When that's not really the case. It might have been that way
Ronnie,
in skateboarding, but it wasn't that in
Ronnie,
baseball.
Let me just tell you something. You're so full of poop.
You're
going to sit here and tell me there's no animosity in team sports.
Not in that situation.
Against guys that don't make plays.
I mean, if the guy,
that's the biggest
if the guy had fallen down or something and not gotten there, but the guy
how many times do we watch the NFL on Sunday or Major League Baseball and guys get into it?
Very rarely, though.
You're so full of to do.
It happens.
It happens every Sunday on Fox Sports.
Yeah.
We see guys getting in people. We see Tom Brady getting in people's faces for not making plays. Tom Brady, the untouchable.
We're way behind on the break.
Oh, for God's sake.
We're going to take a time out. We're going to be back sports shorts from LeBaron.
You've just never been a team player.
Right
after
after this.
You don't push people.
We're not going to break.
No, we're not. Okay.
And we're back. Or are we going to break?
Oh, there we go.
There.
Relief window experience. Relief window.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, hardy plank, or siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in BatonRouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows, it's an honor to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
Relief window.
When it comes to you or a loved one facing a long-term stay in a hospital, there are other long-term acute care hospitals, and then there is AMG Specialty Hospital. AMG Specialty Hospital is a long-term acute care hospital known as a LTAC. We are designed to give care to patients who require an extended hospital stay. AMG Specialty Hospital focuses on putting our patients first, which is why 90% of our specialty hospital patients and their families would recommend us to others. Other LTACs will care for you. AMG Specialty Hospital will care about you. AMG's committed to delivering quality health care to our patients within the communities we serve. Go ahead, ask your doctor which LTAC hospital they would trust most for their own loved ones. If you're looking for a pretty hospital, they're out there. But if you're looking for the best long-term acute care hospital with great patient care, AMG is proudly serving 8 locations in Louisiana and 7 other locations within the United States. So when the best care is as close as this, there's absolutely no reason to go to any LTAC other than AMG's healthcare management for complex medical needs. Welcome back, everybody. Ronnie Rantz alongside Joel Davis here in LaBerge Studios. By the way, coming up at LaBerge, Ben Folds is going to be in concert this Saturday at LaBerge, or actually Friday night at LaBerge. Tickets through Ticketmaster.com or go by the Sundry store. Ben Folds 5, you know, they had a few hits back in the day. Well, it'll be Ben with just the big piano, no 5. You know, he makes more money that way if it's just Ben. And then,
Do you agree with that?
I think that's fine. Vince Gill coming. Big Vince Gill fan.
Everything he says screams not team, though, doesn't it? Even though he's getting on
Vince
me.
Gill is going to be at LaBerge. That's coming up as well, so make sure you get your tickets for all that.
I'd be willing to bet my entire life savings you were not the guy going, it's okay you missed that ball. It's okay you struck out with the bases loaded down by 2. I just don't catch you as that guy.
Here's the thing.
You're not competitive whatsoever.
To give you an idea of how much you don't really know me, when my junior year in high school, during the break, by the way, Todd Black, who's going to be joining us here in just a little bit, brought up the name M.L. Woodruff. Okay, M.L. Woodruff, a legendary head coach for Parkview Baptist Baseball, won numerous state championships over there, built that program into a powerhouse. They got their first state title going through Ron Rantz. They beat me on the way in the playoffs.
Is that your uncle? Oh, you.
They beat me in the playoffs. They were loaded, had a bunch of D1 players. I struck out 15 Parkview Baptist batters and lost the game. Because our shortstop made 6 errors and the catcher had numerous pass balls.
But you're okay with that.
The point of that is that I still was a good enough teammate not to kill Russ White, who played shortstop that day and made 6 errors.
Just enough to call him out. Just enough to call him out.
26 times he'll he knows Russ.
So you just walked up to him?
At least half of them you should have caught.
So you just walked up, put your arm around, and said, "It's okay, guy."
No, I didn't go with the okay, but I mean,
What'd you say?
I didn't MF him either. You know what I mean? I just went with it.
Outwardly, you didn't MF him.
Yeah, I mean,
internally,
I probably went with the. When they throw the ball, whenever somebody makes a mistake and they go, "My bad," and they throw the ball back to the mound, they give you that lob throw back to the mound. I probably went with the snatch like this. I went with the left-hander, the snatch like.
I know the snatch.
Give me the damn ball.
Give me the damn ball.
I probably even went with the give me a damn ball at least once or twice.
And then turned around, kicked a little dirt, and then turned around.
Did the foot like that.
And then did a little quick turn back to the catcher like that. I get you.
Yeah, but anyway, LSU we're going to find out what they're made of this week. They go over to Houston. By the way, all 3 games are going to be on Fox Sports this weekend. 2 top 5 teams in the country, TCU and LSU, do in battle Friday night. LSU and Baylor going at it on Saturday, which must-watch TV. Got to see what Jared Poche is going to do. I think it's 3:30 on Saturday. And all these times are a little bit approximate because there's 3 games a day. So obviously on Saturday and Sunday there's games. Saturday and Friday for LSU, there's games in front of them. So the times could slide a little bit. But all the games this weekend will be on the Fox Sports app, or you can check it out and look for LSU on the TV. Sunday, they take on Texas Tech. Texas Tech and TCU both were in Omaha a year ago. So huge crowds. And, of course, if the weather's bad, they close the roof. But the weather's expected to be good, so the roof will be open.
You going to be there for this? You going?
I'm not doing the games. I'm going to watch on TV.
Okay.
Got some LaBerge work to do this week.
I just figured you were going to jump on the private jet and head over there.
No, we're going to watch Save the Jet for Omaha. Maybe the Tigers make it to Omaha.
Do you believe what you've seen so far with LSU, with their pitching? With Lang and Poche,
Newman closing the door,
and Dykeman just crushing the ball. Man, is he on a tear?
Yeah, 4 home runs already in the first week.
486 feet, hitting it over the LSU Intimidator. Ronnie, these are not -5 bats.
Right.
This guy's crushing this.
No, that's real deal.
It's worse than a wooden
power.
bat. Well, it's worse than a wooden bat. I mean, some would say. Some say wooden bats have a little bit more pop than the bats that these guys have. That dude, how big is he? Is he 6'2", 6'3"?
He's not 6'3", but he probably 6'1".
220?
6'2", maybe, put together well, 210, 215.
Every time he swings the bat, Ronnie. I mean, his stock just continues to just.
Oh, he
just
takes a hack like he
transform.
wants to kill the baseball.
But he's consistent, and that's the thing. I mean, being able to hit the ball, he just hits it so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just listening to Chris Blair, and you know, Dykeman comes up, and the wind's blowing in, and you know, and Doug's talking about, hey man, hopefully they'll hit. You know, they're probably going to pitch him on the outside, and we'd like to see, you know, him push one over the left field fence.
Right.
You know, and because the wind's blowing in to the right on right field. And then Doug also follows it. Not that he can't get it out in the wind. And I mean, the next pitch he takes it over the fence, about 30 feet.
Well, the thing that's
into the wind.
The thing that's impressive is that Dykeman's bomb on Sunday, which was his 4th homer, into the wind.
Yes.
They measured it at like 450 or something like that,
Sick,
453 or whatever. So that's absolutely incredible. And he's got tremendous power. We thought he could hit 15 to 20 home runs, and it looks like he's well on his way.
Where do you think? I mean, you think he'll hit that 20
Well,
home
here's
run
what's
mark
going to
as
happen.
they get into SEC play?
LSU's going to have to start. They're going to have some pop around him, or they will pitch around him all day long in every situation that they can. Even if there's a hitter with a high average next to him,
They're
they'll
not
take
gonna
the
give up
average
a home
versus
run.
the power. So they got to get that going. You know, the loss of Bryce Jordan for the year, their DH who was all SEC a year ago, hasn't
That'd
been
have been
felt
huge.
yet. It's going to be felt because Adams doesn't look like it can be the long-term solution. He may be able to spark you from here or there. His bat he doesn't see off-speed well at all. And once they see that, they just throw him nothing but off-speed. So, and Bo Jordan hadn't gotten going yet. I personally think Bo Jordan's going to end up being your DH. I feel like he's good enough hitter to where he's going to come around and he's going to be your DH.
Does he have the power to?
Well, he's not a big bopper.
Protect
I don't know that
Dykeman.
I don't know that you have another Dykeman on your team. I think you got some guys that can leave the yard, but I don't think there's another 12 homer guy.
Well, LSU hasn't been known to have a guy like that in quite some time. This is really the first time. Think about it. That every time he comes to the plate, you're waiting for one to leave.
Run.
I mean, when's the last guy LSU had? Who was the last guy?
Mikey Matuk was a guy that every time you could think.
How long has that been?
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Yeah, in between, you had Mason Katz was a guy that could leave the yard anytime. He had double-digit homers his last year. But yeah, even like the Rafe Rhymes were.
Yeah, but you're talking double digits. We're talking 20 plus.
Yeah, he might be able to.
We're talking about a heavy hitter.
And
this reminds you of Gorilla Ball, the way he's hitting the ball right now.
Yeah.
It really is. And I mean, remember when LSU was at Omaha? They didn't have anybody on that roster that could get it out of that field.
Right.
Now that guy. I mean, it's just even Bryce Jordan was hitting them, and those guys can't get them out.
Bad news for LSU. They found out today that Norman, their reliever, Doug Norman's not going to be gone for the year. He's one of the main guys in their bullpen, a junior. He having surgery, terrible for him. They already knew Alden Cartwright was gone for the year. That happened, over the summer, last spring, and then it didn't work out that he was able to go back. So you lost two guys in Cartwright and Norman that could have helped you this year that are out. Bryce Jordan's out for the year with the injury with his ACL. So wow, I mean, who knew that baseball is such a contact sport? And it's already only the first week of the season.
Well, part of winning a championship, you got to have some luck
and
along the way.
They have a lot of depth too.
Well, you have to have a lot of luck along the way, and right now LSU doesn't look like the luck is on their side. I mean, when you lose those types of players, it's tough for any team to respond from that and to overcome that. But they're going to have to find it. Like you said, they have some depth. They're going to have to find some guys that can fill those holes.
We will find out a lot more about this LSU baseball team this weekend. They play a big-time schedule, kind of at a neutral site, although there'll be a ton of LSU fans that are going to be there. How will Caleb Gilbert do? To me, he's a wild card. We know Poche and Lang are going to be good. We know Newman, what he can do. Caleb Gilbert is a guy right now that in his first two outings of 2017, the pitcher, he's worked a total of 6 innings and he's punched out about 12. He's got electric stuff. He hit 96 on Sunday out of the bullpen. We know he's 90 to 94 with a good movement on his fastball. He's been a little inconsistent, but he's a sophomore out of Hoover, Alabama, tremendous upside. If Caleb Gilbert can pitch anything like he did on Sunday, then he is either going to become your third starter and supplant Walker, the outstanding freshman who they like a lot,
he struggled on Sunday.
Or he's going to end up being your closer because Hunter Newman, as good as he was a year ago, what makes Hunter Newman so good is he can throw that breaking ball over any time and any count. but you can also hang it. He doesn't throw super hard, so he's hittable. If Caleb Gilbert could throw strikes and be 94 to 96 with sink and run, you got options. You don't have to just go Hunter Newman on the back end.
Is Matthew Beck a guy for this baseball team? Is he a future?
At the future, he's not right now.
What does he bring to the table? Because here's just let me.
Where'd that come from? Yeah.
Because he went to Ash.
Okay.
You're an Alexandria
Right.
guy. I thought he was.
Well, he's a big kid.
Let me finish why? Because I thought he should have played football. I thought he should have stuck with a quarterback.
Trojans, yeah.
I think he reminded me so much of a blonde Tom Brady.
Right.
Tall, lean, could sling it, very smart.
You just throw around some strong. That's a strong adjective.
I'm talking about physical appearance.
Okay.
Not the biggest, the best athlete on the planet.
Yeah.
Long, lanky, skinny, big arm, can throw it, smart.
Yeah.
Head. He just kind of.
You like the tall, lanky. You love the Turlings Catholic quarterback. The kid that's going.
He's not lanky, bro.
Is he going to
He's
Arkansas?
at Arkansas.
He's at Arkansas.
He's not
loved him.
lanky.
Yeah.
This kid was like a big stick man.
Right.
I know he's probably put on some weight at LSU. He says I haven't seen him in person.
Right.
But I just remember wishing for him that he was such a good pitcher. Obviously, his first love was baseball.
Right.
And I knew it was baseball, and you knew he was going to LSU to play baseball. But I thought this was a kid that if he would have focused on football would be a big-time
Right.
SEC quarterback. And I was curious, how is he turning out at LSU? Where is his future look at LSU? Is he going to be a name at LSU, or is he just going to be one of those guys that's on the roster like we've seen so many?
Right.
There's guys, and then there's some other guys that are. So where is he? What's he going to be?
He's to be determined. He's a 2018
So he should have been
guy.
a football player. Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all. When you've got that body like you described, that's more of a pitcher body. We're going to take a break. When we come back,
Tom Brady would disagree with you.
Tom Brady has no idea who you are. But we're going to take a break. When we come back,
but he knows who you are.
we're going to two guys that know a lot about high school sports are going to be here. Todd Black, of course, you can check him out on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 on ESPN Radio. Super passionate about getting the word out and letting you know what's going on with the LHSAA and the principals around the state, which if you've turned on the news or you've looked on the internet and you've seen scores over the last couple of weeks, you might be shocked at what's going on in high school basketball, men's and women's. And oh, by the way, baseball and softball's next. That debacle is coming down the pipe in a hurry, and it is going to be an ugly thing. We will find out about all the craziness going on right now in high school basketball, men's and women's, with Todd Black of ESPN Radio and Joel Davis. Don't go anywhere.
This is Brandon Holly, 6'2", former college football player. How many swings will it take him to break through this storm force impact window from Relief Windows? Visit us today or call 288-8138.
When it comes to you or a loved one facing a long-term stay in a hospital, there are other long-term acute care hospitals, and then there is AMG Specialty Hospital. AMG Specialty Hospital is a long-term acute care hospital known as a LTAC. We are designed to give care to patients who require an extended hospital stay. AMG Specialty Hospital focuses on putting our patients first, which is why 90% of our specialty hospital patients and their families would recommend us to others. Other LTACs will care for you. AMG Specialty Hospital will care about you. AMG is committed to delivering quality health care to our patients within the communities we serve. Go ahead, ask your doctor which LTAC hospital they would trust most for their own loved ones. If you're looking for a pretty hospital, they're out there. But if you're looking for the best long-term acute care hospital with great patient care, AMG is proudly serving 8 locations in Louisiana and 7 other locations within the United States. So when the best care is as close as this, there's absolutely no reason to go to any LTAC other than AMG's healthcare management for complex medical needs.
Wooden Haven Furniture Company is your furniture destination for timeless designs handcrafted by artisans from around the globe. Wooden Haven Furniture Company has furniture that can change or just accent your world at home. Wooden Haven Furniture Company.
Still swinging? Get your Stormforce Impact windows from Relief Windows today. Visit our showroom or call 288-8138, 288-8138.
And welcome back to Sports Shorts, brought to you by the LaBerge Hotel
Ronnie
and
was
Casino.
pulling me that way.
Our guest, Ronnie had to skate out of here. Todd Black from ESPN on Wednesday nights joins us right now. Todd, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
104.5 every Wednesday night during the regular season, year round. And then again, when football season kicks off, you guys are on the Louisiana Prep Roundup on Friday night before the games and after.
Correct.
Cade Wazan kind of host, you guys co-host. Jimmy Roy is on the show. Great job, by the way, what you guys do. As I leave Lafayette every Friday night, the first station I turn to is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge to listen to the scores. You guys do a great job
Thank you.
getting everything in. There's a lot. That's a lot to do. You're trying to round up that many scores.
It really is.
And people are texting you trying to get those scores. You guys do a great job of doing that. The reason why we brought you on today, though, is talking about the LHSA and what they've done. We knew about the split in football. The split has been hated by so many people, loved by others.
Right.
But it just seems like there's more people that disagree with the decision than there are people that have agreed with the decision. And now this is the first year that we have had basketball and other sports with, like Ronnie said, baseball and softball down the pike. But we're starting to see already with the girls and boys, with the girls playoffs, talk about some of these scores that we're hearing coming. When you pick up the paper or you go online and you look at some of the, it's embarrassing for these schools and these children that are playing these. When you're losing 100-5, how does that even happen?
Well, and tonight, the latest one is Lafayette Christian beat Catholic Point Coupee 123-31.
And we're talking about Lafayette Christian.
Yes. And so they beat them by 92. And here's the one thing that people need to realize. When you start pointing fingers, the coach could have done this, the coach could have done that, the fingers need to be pointed at the principals. The principals are the one that allowed this to happen. And the crazy thing about that is the principals are there to protect kids. Why don't they handle their business the same way with the LHSAA as they do in their school? If a kid gets no answers correct on a test, are you going to pass him? That's ultimately what they're saying. If you fail, you fail, regardless. You can't let a kid go 0-19 and go into the playoffs. But the worst thing is, like you just said, you get humiliated by 100 points.
So when you go 0-19 or 0-15 during the regular season, then how do you end up in the playoffs? How does the system set up? Is it because there's not enough teams in that particular division, or that's just the way the rules are set up?
They're trying to force the square peg into a round hole, as they say, and that's exactly what happens. And I'll tell you right now, you can look in Division 5, and also there was another division where
Division 5 is a select
school where
which means private schools.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the number 1 seed has 2 byes all the way to the quarterfinals.
That's nice.
So but when you really look at it, they're losing gate, losing money. It's easy to move the select schools down to 16 brackets, which everybody seems to think that's the solution. The problem then comes, a lot of the blowouts are coming on the public side. Well, you have plenty of teams to fill those brackets on the public side. They're just not very good. So what do you say? We're only going to take 16 teams because we need good ones and kick the other ones out? At some point, I think it's going to come full circle. And that seems to be what's happening right now.
Have you seen anything in the playoffs that, other than these awful scores, are you hearing anything from the coaches, from the kids, discouragement? Do they even want to? Any time you say, hey, you're going to get an extra game, surely they're not going to be not excited about that. Because any kid's going to be, we're in the playoffs. That's exciting. But are you hearing anything after the fact from any of these coaches, any of these players, where they feel like they're being put in a situation where it's just not fair to them or their school?
So let me give you the best example I know of that. In football, for 3 years, East Iberville was 0-30,
Right.
and went to the playoffs every year. This year, they voted against the split.
Yeah, that'll change your opinion.
That lets you know right now,
Yeah.
to answer your question, is they want no part of it. And as a coach, I'm going to tell you, if you're 0 and something, you don't want no part of it.
Yeah, you want out.
You want to start rebuilding. And because there are a lot of things that are going in, there's a lot of reasons that go into the fact why you only have 0 wins, and a lot of it has to do with the same reasons, whether you're successful or not successful in life. Effort, attitude, and trust, and you can go on. And that's what ultimately sports teaches the kids, that they're not being taught because of the principles.
So what's next? I mean, we're watching these playoffs.
Right.
We're seeing some of the scores come in. At what point do these games get competitive? At the championship game level? When they're finally in the championship games? I mean, when do we start seeing some competitive basketball games?
Well,
And will we?
If you want to take that analogy to football, I can tell you that the average margin of victory in Division IV, with that's going to be with all the private schools, the average margin of victory is like 38 points. So some of them never get closer. What you usually see is the higher classifications staying a little bit closer because there's less private-public split.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I think, 12, in 5A. There's like 6 and 5 and 4A, 3A, but when you get to 2A, you see 20 teams, 22 teams,
Right.
and that's the really big split, and that's where the separation comes. So 5, 4, and 3A is okay, but when you get lower, and in Class B and C too, it really gets bad.
Is there any teams in particular right now that you see that are special? I mean, obviously we have a lot of teams that are not very
Right.
special that are So let's talk about the teams that are, deserve to be there because they're being overlooked. There's a lot of teams because of this that you're not really talking about, and nobody is, because you look at these scores and it's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Who out there on the girls' side do you find intriguing? Like quality coaching, quality teams that deserve to be there.
They have, I think Barb's a good team. You've got a couple others that are out there, right? Like New Living Word, I think, is out of Ruston. They're
Yes.
a lower BC type team, continues to dominate. But you kind of see it. I think that's one of the things when people break it down, public or private. There's not a lot of domination by one team, but they'll go on streaks. You remember
Sure.
Christian Life several years back, but then you turn around and you look at Riverside, a team that's very dominant. But they're good. Madison Prep, girls and boys, a very good team.
Who have come out of nowhere. I mean, obviously, these teams, they haven't been around that long, but they're starting to dominate high school sports and football, basketball, and who knows what else.
So one of the bigger questions is, why did Madison Prep move from select to non-select?
Mm-hmm.
So to clarify that, if there's a admittance policy, meaning they can tell you no, or if they can retain you, that's the biggest. Retain is always, it's very vague. And so the bottom line is, in 2013, when Carr somehow got moved from select to non-select, Madison Prep should have too, but they didn't. So they should have been non-select the entire time.
It's very interesting. It's very confusing. It's one of those things that you could talk about religiously over and over. It's very deep. And you've done your homework on it, and that's why you're here. So we'll talk more about it. Eddie Bonine, the leader of the LHSAA, the president of the LHSAA, has his hands full. Is a man that's a good man that's been through the ringer.
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk more about Eddie Bonine and his future with the LHSAA next with Todd Black from ESPN. We'll be right back.
my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, hardy plank or siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in BatonRouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows is honored to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
Relief windows.
When it comes to you or a loved one facing a long-term stay in a hospital, there are other long-term acute care hospitals, and then there is AMG Specialty Hospital. AMG Specialty Hospital is a long-term acute care hospital known as a LTAC. We are designed to give care to patients who require an extended hospital stay. AMG Specialty Hospital focuses on putting our patients first, which is why 90% of our specialty hospital patients and their families would recommend us to others. Other LTACs will care for you. AMG Specialty Hospital will care about you. AMG is committed to delivering quality health care to our patients within the communities we serve. Go ahead, ask your doctor which LTAC hospital they would trust most for their own loved ones. If you're looking for a pretty hospital, they're out there. But if you're looking for the best long-term acute care hospital with great patient care, AMG is proudly serving 8 locations in Louisiana and 7 other locations within the United States. So when the best care is as close as this, there's absolutely no reason to go to any LTAC other than AMG's healthcare management for complex medical needs.
And welcome back to Sports Shorts, brought to you by the LeBears Hotel and Casino Studios. Todd Black from 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge joins us right now talking about the LHSA, the split. You mentioned that there will be 12 girl champions, 12 boy champions in the state of Louisiana. It's 24 state champions in the state of Louisiana, right, with how many schools?
340 in that particular
340,
area.
so 24 state champions.
So 399 altogether, just to correct. So somebody's like, no, there's not more that play girls basketball.
Put it in perspective for a state of Florida.
Florida has 798 teams in girls side only, and they have 9 championships. Louisiana has about 350 girls teams and has 12 championships.
Twice the amount. It just really makes twice the amount of schools.
You know, I would say the arrogance of the executive committee when they decided to do this is something that aggravates me too. There are a ton of states that have gone through what Louisiana is going through.
The model. They've seen it happen,
yes,
and they could have predicted what's going on.
And most of them use a multiplier, but that wasn't good enough for here.
What has to happen for them to change?
That's a good question, because what is
why?
a failed split?
For them, why change?
What does a failed split look like? So you wanted them to be competitive balanced, you wanted level playing field. Well, there's a lot of teams getting beat by 90 that says that it's not level and it's not competitive. Also, Eddie Bonine, you mentioned him a minute ago before we went to break, has nothing to do with this. This is all about the principals and what they want. He stepped up last year. He told them the brackets would look like this. He said, we'll also lose $350,000 from sponsors as well.
Have they?
The sponsors have dropped, yes. And here's the thing to know is that the principals all knew this, and they voted it in anyway. So that kind of tells you they're not looking out for the best interest of all kids. I
would have to say the $350,000 in sponsors would get anybody's attention. And
especially if you can't pay rent.
Right. You would start, at some point they're going to have to change it back. If they're, no business can run losing $350,000. So if that's the case, you're losing sponsors year after year after year, at some point, it's got to change. It will have to change just because of the finances.
You would think so, and I'm just this is
the first year.
Principals aren't the smartest or the best business people in the world. But the other thing is, it was announced in January that Mr. Bonine had saved or made the association $1 million over the course of a year.
Wow!
So he runs things like a business, Joel. Yeah. It's a little bit different.
To. Well, right. LHSA is a business. So the LHSA may be losing that guy. That's a guy that's put up with enough And he's such a nice man. And look, he's tried to do a great job, and he's had a lot of people heading him off on the path to try to be successful. So he is up for an opportunity, a finalist, if I'm not mistaken, in Florida.
Correct.
For the same position.
Correct.
In Florida. He's going to take that job. If he gets offered that job, I would assume that he's going to take that job. Is that the only place that he's potentially looking? I mean, he's got to be looking to get out. I mean, I can't imagine anybody in their right mind would want to continue to put up with this.
I think that environment's very tough to work in. When you have people you don't know who to trust, you have people that are, backstabbing you for, people that don't know who you were hired. There's people on the executive committee that said, Mr. Bonine, we don't think you were hired to get the association back together. Well, that was wrong.
Yeah.
These are the executive committee members. So there are people, it's just tough. I mean, he's trying to do what's best for the student athletes, but yet there's people so emotionally tied to some of these decisions, like against Curtis or Evangel, that they're just staying pat. They have their claws dug in, and it hurts nothing but the kids. Doesn't hurt anybody else but the kids. That's the bottom line.
So Eddie Bonine, with this opportunity in Florida, if he's a finalist to get that position, he's in it to win it, I'm going to assume. I mean, he's in it to get that job. If the job is offered to him, I'm sure he's gone. What's next for the LHSAA? If this guy leaves, who would fill those shoes, and who would be a yes man to potentially walk into that position?
God, and that's just so what you don't need.
Would you take that job?
Look, they hate me over there right now.
Sure, but would you take that job
if I could make the decisions?
But knowing that you are going to be in that situation,
no,
of course,
no, absolutely not.
And that's something that you would love to do.
It would, yeah. It's because you're in business with kids because you want to help kids. Usually there's not a whole lot of money tied into high school,
sure,
anywhere, teaching, coaching, but evidently a lot of these people think it is with trophies, going after it. But I think, to be honest, Mr. Bonine would stay here if he could. He really likes the state. He likes everything about it. And if it's all possible, he would stay. But there again, you have that decision, and it's a tough decision.
Have you heard anything out of Florida that position? I mean, any conversations that he's wanted there, or he's likely to get the position? Anything like that? Have you heard anything?
All I've heard is I think it's in middle of March that the interviews go or take place, and they're open to the public. So who knows? I might end up there.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
You could go. Is he looking anywhere else? Is there anything else out there where he would like to move, and is there an opportunity anywhere else?
He's got such a good resume. He was on the executive board with the National Federation of High Schools. I think he's crazy not to have an opportunity. I think it's crazy for anybody. If they have an option just to look, to go ahead and do that. You might could benefit yourself and your family by looking. But there is an option on the table right now to extend Mr. Bonine's contract. And I think if that happens, that would change things. That obviously, if they extend it, they like what's going on.
Sure.
And if you look at it from a financial perspective and his agenda, which is the student athletes, you're crazy if you don't keep him. And somebody waiting, possibly, if he does leave, just to give you an answer on that, I think it's Tim Detillier at Lutcher. I think it's somebody they wanted probably before Mr. Bonine, but we had him on the show the other day, and he said retirement's not for him.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is sometimes.
A lot of those football coaches and guys like that have just grinded out. They want to stay in it somehow, some way, have a feel of the athletics and being, like you said, helping young men and young women out.
Can I flip the script on you for
Sure.
a second? Watching the games or calling the games, do you notice any difference from that perspective?
Usually, in football, we kind of try to pick the games that we feel like are going to be competitive.
Right.
So, we're not really looking at the games that we feel, and you can kind of read them and to see which ones are going to be competitive and which ones not. And sometimes they're not.
Right.
The first round of the playoffs, you really don't know what you're going to get, even with football.
That's
but
right.
and then you're also limited to areas, within the Acadiana market, the Baton Rouge market, and the New Orleans market. So you're limited on who's going to be playing, and that first round can be scary. You have a lot of options in that first round, and you try to pick your best. And fortunately for the Cox 4 game of the week, we've done pretty good picking those games. Not all of them are great, but yeah, you can definitely see a talent, and that's what it is. It's a difference in talent.
Right.
It's a difference in numbers. There's a lot of schools that you just look at the sideline and you're like, wow, these are two 4A teams, and you look at one sideline, and it looks like there's 150 players on the sideline, like a Turlings Catholic, who's going to have 180 kids on the sideline, and they may be playing a team that's got maybe 50 on the sideline. That's a clear advantage.
Difference in classification,
and
correct.
they can be in the same classification during in the playoffs. I mean, even in select and non-select, they can be in the same They can be in the same select class, but yet, how do these two teams? I mean, to me, it's about rosters. You know, to me, in football, it's about rosters. How many guys can you play? You know, I've seen playoff games where I swear to you that there's probably 30 kids on a sideline on one side, and on the other sideline there's 70.
Right.
And it's just not fair. He's Todd Black. I'm Joel Davis. You're watching Sports Shorts right here in the LaBerge Hotel and Casino Studios. We're going to be right back. Talk a little bit more about the LHSA with Todd and find out where you can find him and get more information about the LHSA. We'll be right back.
When it comes to you or a loved one facing a long-term stay in a hospital, there are other long-term acute care hospitals, and then there is AMG Specialty Hospital. AMG Specialty Hospital is a long-term acute care hospital known as a LTAC. We are designed to give care to patients who require an extended hospital stay. AMG Specialty Hospital focuses on putting our patients first, which is why 90% of our specialty hospital patients and their families would recommend us to others. Other LTACs will care for you. AMG Specialty Hospital will care about you. AMG is committed to delivering quality health care to our patients within the communities we serve. Go ahead, ask your doctor which LTAC hospital they would trust most for their own loved ones. If you're looking for a pretty hospital, they're out there. But if you're looking for the best long-term acute care hospital with great patient care, AMG is proudly serving 8 locations in Louisiana and 7 other locations within the United States. So when the best care is as close as this, there's absolutely no reason to go to any LTAC other than AMG's healthcare management for complex medical needs.
Relief window. Experience Relief window.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, hardy plank, or siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in Baton Rouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows is honored to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
Relief window.
So 80%, we're sitting here talking in the break, 80% of the teams in Louisiana, girls basketball, right?
And boys.
Girls and boys, 80% of the teams make the playoffs.
Correct.
104 teams with losing records.
With the girls, and then the boys,
110 teams in the playoffs under this new split in basketball. 110 boys teams with losing records. This is absurd. 6 teams with 3 wins, 6 teams with 2 wins, 3 teams with 1 win, 11 teams with 0 wins in the playoffs. I mean, think about that. Let's think about the NFL for a second. I mean, how many teams make the playoffs? 16 teams?
So I go
So half.
NCAA tournament over the history of the NCAA tournament. 0.7% of the teams have made with the losing record.
It just makes no sense. And look, until they start losing money, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take cash flow to stop anything, any nonsense. This is embarrassing. It really is. I'm not even kidding you. I mean, I feel bad for some of these kids and these coaches that have to go out and compete against teams that are actually good. And you mentioned protecting the kids. Not only you got to protect them physically, mentally. To get hammered? Nobody wants to get hammered. It could really take the love of the game away from you.
Well, if you want to make a difference, school board members are elected, superintendents, principals. I'm now contacting superintendents because superintendents can control the principals. I've had several respond saying they felt bad they weren't more involved during this process and they want to talk and discuss more. So hopefully that can get the ball rolling from a little bit higher level, because I think the seriousness is getting to the principal or the superintendents because the severity of the point differential.
Yeah. Well, look, you're on the radio every Wednesday night on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock to 7.
6 o'clock to 7 every Wednesday night for the prep show. It's a great show. If you want information on scores, your team, these guys cover it better than anybody else in the state. Also, during the football season, you can see Todd Black and listen to Todd Black every Friday night during the football season. Who you got there, buddy?
Got pitcher for the Sun Devils, your neighbor, Jackson Graddick.
What's up, Jackson? How's the season going for you, buddy?
Fine so far.
How do you think Pops here did for the show? You did okay?
He hears it too much.
You could have done better. He's Todd Black. I'm Joel Davis. You've been watching Sports Shorts right here in the LeBair's Hotel and Casino Studios. We'll be right back next week, same time, same place. Looking forward to it. I want to thank Ronnie Rantz for stopping by this afternoon. And look, the show wouldn't run very well without the Rantster. And I don't believe for a second, not 1 second, that Ronnie Rantz struck out 15 players in a baseball
Or
game.
no-hitter.
Or no-hitter. Not happening. We'll see you later.
Does the new year mean new windows, hardy plank, or vinyl siding? Then you need to call Relief Windows for award-winning customer service and years of experience. Looking for quality replacement windows with lifetime warranties? Trust Relief Windows. Call us or come walk through our showroom and get a free consultation with one of our many window experts. Relief Windows is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Come see us today or call 288-8138. 288-8138.